Hello guys and welcome to this video. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at this statement: if double underscore name is equal to double underscore main, which is a string. This statement here. So Python programmers like you often see this in scripts, but many fully do not understand why it is used there and what it is used for. So today I'll take a look at this statement in a great detail and tell you what it means, how it works, and when we should use it. So to fully understand this statement, we first need to talk about the underscore name variable. So in Python, every script runs in a special execution environment. One of the built-in variables in this environment is the double underscore name variable. So when a Python script is run directly, the double underscore name variable is set to the double underscore main string. And when a Python script is imported as a module, the double underscore name variable is set to the name of the module instead. So let's take a look at an example to demonstrate what I'm saying here. So I have my main.py file here. So I'll create another file, let's say script.py. Then inside the script file, I have my print statement that will print this script is running under double underscore name is equal to the value for the double underscore name variable. And so now if we run this script directly, it is going to print this script is running under double underscore name equal to double underscore main. But if we import this script from another file, like let's say if I imported my scripts.py file into my main.py file, then run this, you'll see that it's going to print this script is running under double underscore name is equal to script. So our double underscore name variable value has been set to the name of the module. That was the script.py file instead of double underscore name variable. So that is the basic understanding of the double underscore name variable. Now that we have a brief overview of the double underscore name variable, let's now take a look at why we should use this condition in our scripts. So when writing Python scripts, we often include functions, classes, and other logic that may be useful to other scripts, but we don't always want everything to execute when the module is imported. Using the if double underscore name variable is equal to main, it will let us to control which part of the script that we want to run when the file is executed directly, and which parts we want to remain or want to use for imports. So let me take a look at an example of this. So let's head over to my script.py file, and inside the script.py file, I'll define a function with the name main. Then inside it, I'll have a print statement that prints this script is running directly. And I'll now use the statement if double underscore name is equal to main. Then I'll call the function inside this if condition. Now, if we run this script directly, it is going to print this script is running directly. But let's say I now go back to my main.py file, then import it and run it again. You see that nothing happens because the main function is only executed when our if condition is true. So if the double underscore main is equal to name, then it is going to execute the main function, indicating that the script was run directly. So that is basically how the if double underscore name is equal to main statement works inside of Python. So let's take a look at some practical use cases of this statement. One practical use case of this statement is that it prevents unintended code execution. So when working on large projects, many scripts contain functions or classes that only run under certain conditions. Without this check, importing a script might trigger unwanted code execution. For example, let's say I created a file called database.py Then inside this database.py file, I'll define a function called connect to database. That prints connecting to the database. Then after that, I'll now print database connection success or established. Now, if we imported this database.py file into my main.py file, we will see that it is going to automatically print database connection established when we run this, even if we didn't call anything. But let's say we didn't want this to, or the print statement to run when we import it. What we can do is that we're going to use the if double_name variable statement to fix this. So inside my database.py file, I have if double_name variable is equal to our main. Then inside this condition, it is going to print database connection established. Now, when we now go back to my main.py file, then run this, you see that nothing happens. But when we run this file inside our database.py file, see that since the condition is met, the print statement will be printed on our console. Another useful or practical use case for this statement is writing test cases. So when developing modules, we often include test cases to verify functions correctly. So let's take a look at an example. So inside my main file, I have a function called add that takes in a parameter of a and b. Then it returns a plus b. So I'll now have my if double_name variable is called to main statement that prints the call of add that takes in a value of 3 and 4. So this is a test case for my function add. And so when I run this code directly, we see that it's going to return 7 onto the console. But when we import it elsewhere without executing the test case, it is going to run without executing the test case. Now let's take a look at another very important use case for the if and double_name variable. So let's say we wanted to design a Python module that can both be used as a library and run as a standalone program. So we will need this statement. So let's take a look at an example of a Flask web application using this pattern. So I'll first import my Flask library. After importing my Flask, I'll initialize the Flask instance. After initializing the Flask, I'll create my home route that takes a function of home and returns hello Flask. Then after that, we'll now have if double_name is equal to double_main, and it will have app.run parenthesis that takes in debug is equal to true. So this app.run command executes when the script is run directly, preventing the web server from starting when the module is imported elsewhere. So that is some of the basic or some of the crucial use cases for the if double_name variable is equal to double_main statement. Now let's take a look at some of the most common mistakes that beginners encounter when using this statement. One common mistake is that some beginners assume that every Python script needs this statement, and that is not actually true. It is not necessary that when you want to prevent execution and import, you should always use this statement. Another thing is that forgetting to use it in multi-file projects. So when working with multiple files, always consider whether your script might be imported somewhere else, and if so, wrap this execution logic inside this condition to prevent any unintended behavior. And another common mistake, and this is very important, is because most developers use the statement incorrectly. So let me demonstrate how to use it incorrectly. So I have my statement here, if underscore double, that takes in our main, then I'll print hello world. And after printing the hello world, it will take an else statement. So the else block will print this script is imported. And so when I run this, you see that it's going to print hello world on our console. So this else block is unnecessary inside this code. If the script is imported, nothing needs to happen unless explicitly called. So that is basically how we can use the if double underscore name variable equal to double underscore main statement inside of Python. So understanding this statement is crucial for writing usable Python code. So next time you see this in Python, you know exactly what it does and when to use it. So if you have found this video helpful, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment on this video.